The security camera at Ironclad Fitness, located at 847 Monroe Street in downtown Metro City, recorded the timestamp at exactly 6:15 p.m. on November 14, 2024. Maya Larson tapped her key fob against the reader, triggering its usual beep. Clad in navy leggings, she had her turquoise gym bag slung over one shoulder, phone gripped in her hand as she thumbed through messages while navigating the turnstile. 30 seconds later in the footage, a second figure swiped through behind her. A man in a gray hoodie who had been syncing his arrival with hers for nearly the past 2 weeks. According to Detective Mark Henderson's later testimony, the camera captured her routine perfectly. It also captured the pattern of his. This would be the last evening Maya Larson walked into Ironclad Fitness alive. On the first day of November 2024, the routine had already begun. Maya Larson's consistency made her predictable, Detective Henderson would note during his courtroom testimony 18 months later. The 6:15 p.m. gym check-in every weekday, never varying by more than 5 minutes. The front desk staff at Ironclad Fitness remembered her as polite, focused, always wearing earbuds. They also remembered when the man started appearing. He initially used a day pass purchased with a prepaid debit card that couldn't be traced to a billing address. The gym's membership coordinator, interviewed 3 days after Maya's disappearance, stated he had paid cash for a month-to-month membership on November 4th. His name on the form was Elias Thorne. He listed no emergency contact. The digital record showed he never once used the weight machines or cardio equipment. The surveillance logs later revealed he spent his 40-minute sessions watching Maya from various positions around the gym floor, near the water cooler, by the stretching mats, in the line of sight to the treadmills. The clanking of iron weights, the smell of rubber mats, the hum of industrial fans, these became the sensory backdrop to surveillance disguised as fitness. Maya's turquoise gym bag, thrown carelessly onto the bench beside her, became a beacon. Predators often mistake politeness for permission, Detective Henderson observed during a podcast interview in 2026, reflecting on the case's early warning signs that no one had recognized in real time. By November 10th, the casual encounters had crystallized into something deliberate. Maya's closest friend, Jennifer Cole, testified that Maya had begun expressing discomfort. Text messages recovered during the digital forensics phase showed Maya writing to her sister Sarah at 7:43 p.m. on November 9th. "That guy is here again. I think he followed me to the treadmill." Another message, sent the following evening, read, "If he asks me about my leg day again, I'm changing gyms." The parking lot incident occurred on November 12th. Security footage showed Maya exiting the gym at 7:52 p.m. The lot was nearly empty, a grid of open spaces under sodium lights. Elias Thorne's vehicle, a dark blue sedan, later identified as a 2018 Honda Accord, was parked directly adjacent to Maya's white Toyota Camry, despite 40 available spots. The camera captured him sitting motionless in the driver's seat for 3 minutes and 17 seconds, engine idling, windows up, as Maya approached her car. She glanced at his vehicle twice before unlocking her door. The turquoise gym bag landed in her passenger seat. She sat for 34 seconds before starting her engine, a pause that suggested calculation, fear held at bay by rationalization. The defensive mindset of "maybe it's nothing" overriding the warning instinct. The background static of fear that she tried to logic away. Jennifer later testified, "She checked her phone constantly after that. It was a nervous tick I'd never seen before." The morning of November 15th arrived without Maya. Her position as a marketing coordinator at Brennan & Associates required her presence by 8:30 a.m. for a client presentation. She had prepared the slides herself. When she failed to appear, her supervisor called her cell at 8:47 a.m. The call went directly to voicemail. Her mother, Elena Larson, testified that she called Maya's phone at 9 a.m., then again at 9:30 a.m., then continuously every 15 minutes until noon. Each call met the same automated greeting. Elena drove to the Vantage, the apartment complex on Clearview Boulevard where Maya rented a two-bedroom unit on the 4th floor. She stood outside the locked lobby, pressing the buzzer for Unit 4C repeatedly. No response. The silence was amplified by the building's soundproofed construction, walls designed to ensure privacy now sealing in whatever had happened. Elena called the Metro City Police Department at 2:17 p.m. The dispatch log, entered into evidence during the trial, recorded the officer's response. "Has she been gone 24 hours? Elena answered, "She's been unreachable for 6 hours, and she's never unreachable." The officer's reply, preserved in the recording: "Ma'am, she's an adult. She has the right to be alone. Call us back if she's still missing tomorrow." The patrol unit dispatched to the Vantage at 3:45 p.m. found no signs of forced entry at the front entrance. They noted that the apartment lights were off. Their report, filed at 4:12 p.m., was marked low priority, adult voluntary absence. Act 2. The investigation. The initial police response on the afternoon of November 15th followed standard protocol. Maya Larson was 28 years old, employed, no known history of mental health crises, no active restraining orders. The officers who responded to the Vantage complex checked the lobby, confirmed the front door showed no tampering, and concluded their report with the assessment: no evidence of foul play. Elena and Sarah Larson, however, knew the details the police didn't. Maya never went anywhere without her phone charger. She took daily medication for a thyroid condition. She had confirmed her attendance at Sunday brunch with her family via text message at 6:15 p.m. the evening before. While the Metro City Police Department filed the missing person report as low priority, Sarah took action. She accessed Maya's iCloud account using credentials they had shared for family calendar coordination. Missing person cases, Detective Henderson would later explain in his training manual contributions, exist in a legal gray zone. Until evidence of harm surfaces, privacy laws and resource constraints limit the investigative response. The dry click of the police radio, the bright afternoon sun streaming through the Vantage lobby's floor-to-ceiling windows, the cold indifference of a clipboard form asking for distinguishing marks. These became the sensory memory Elena carried forward. Sarah's digital investigation began that evening at her kitchen table, laptop open, pulling up Instagram, message logs, location history. She was searching for what the police hadn't yet deemed worth finding. By the evening of November 16th, Sarah had found the pattern. Maya's Instagram account contained dozens of direct messages from a profile named Gymrat Unknown. The earliest message was dated November 2nd. "You have great form on the lat pull-down." The messages continued daily, sometimes multiple times per evening, always sent between 6 p.m. and 8 p.m. "Saw you on the elliptical. You look good in blue." Another: "We should grab a protein shake sometime." Maya had never responded. Then Sarah found the photograph. It was sent on November 13th at 7:24 p.m. The image showed Maya mid-stretch on a yoga mat, taken from across the gym floor, with a phone camera zoomed in enough to capture her face clearly. In the background, partially visible, was the turquoise gym bag. The timestamp on the photo matched Ironclad Fitness's check-in logs. Gymrat Unknown had sent the message while standing 10 feet from Maya, watching her in real time. Sarah screenshot every message, saved the photograph, and compiled them into a PDF. She brought the document to Metro City Police Department's precinct at 9:35 a.m. on November 17th. The desk sergeant reviewed it, then escalated it to the detective division. By 11 a.m., Maya's case had been upgraded from low-priority missing person to endangered missing, possible stalking. Detective Mark Henderson received the file at 11:47 a.m. His first action, documented in the case log, was to subpoena Ironclad Fitness's membership database and security camera footage. "The internet never forgets," Henderson said during his TED Talk on digital forensics in 2025. "Even when the suspect deletes the app." Detective Henderson cross-referenced the Instagram message timestamps with the gym's electronic access logs on the afternoon of November 17th. Every message sent by Gym Rat Unknown correlated with a check-in time for one specific membership ID, 4782-M Thorne. The account belonged to Elias Thorne, age 34, no listed employer, address on Maple Grove Avenue, approximately 3 miles from the Vantage. Henderson ran a background check through the National Crime Information Center database. Thorne had a record. 3 years prior, in a neighboring state, a woman named Rebecca Stein had filed a restraining order against him for harassment and stalking. The order had expired. There had been no further legal action. Henderson dispatched 2 patrol units to Thorne's address at 4:15 p.m. They found a basement suite apartment with blinds drawn. The landlord, questioned on site, stated Thorne paid rent in cash and kept irregular hours. His vehicle, the dark blue 2018 Honda Accord, was not in the driveway. A records check revealed the vehicle's license plate, 7JKL 392. An APB was issued at 5:03 p.m. The hunt had shifted. The case was no longer just a missing woman. It was now a fugitive search. Henderson noted in his case file, Thorne's gym membership was canceled remotely via the Ironclad Fitness app at 3:14 a.m. on November 15th, hours after Maya's last known contact. The cancellation timestamp, Henderson testified, suggested consciousness of guilt. Someone planning to disappear doesn't maintain a gym membership. Someone fleeing doesn't log into an app to tidy administrative loose ends unless they understand that digital records create trails. Chapter 6. While patrol units canvassed the city for Thorne's vehicle, forensic investigators arrived at the Vantage complex at 6:30 p.m. on November 17th. They bypassed the main entrance and focused on the building's secondary access points. The fire escape ran along the eastern wall, equipped with a motion sensor camera installed after a burglary 2 years prior. The building manager provided the DVR footage. Technician Laura Mendez reviewed the recordings frame by frame. At 9:15 p.m. on November 14th, the camera's motion sensor triggered. The footage showed a figure moving against the brick exterior, partially obscured by shadow. The person was male, average height, wearing a dark jacket and carrying a heavy duffel bag. He wasn't breaking in. He was exiting through a maintenance door that should have been locked. Mendez rewound the footage. At 7:48 p.m., the same figure had entered through the same door. The maintenance door's lock had been compromised. A piece of duct tape placed over the latch mechanism prevented it from engaging. The technique was common in residential burglaries. It required advanced knowledge of the building's layout. Detective Henderson, reviewing the footage at 8:15 p.m., made the connection. Thorne had scouted the Vantage just as he had studied Maya's gym schedule. The grain of brick on the monitor screen, the electronic hum of the DVR server in the building's security office, the silence of the investigators watching the playback. These formed the atmosphere of realization. He didn't just follow her, Henderson said. He learned her entire world. The door had been taped over 2 days before Maya disappeared, indicating premeditation. The duffel bag, visible on the exit footage, appeared full. Detectives executed a search warrant at Maya's apartment at 10:45 p.m. on November 17th. Building management provided keys. The team entered with forensic photographer Dennis Coe, documenting every room. The living room appeared undisturbed. A magazine lay open on the coffee table to an article about coastal vacations. A coffee mug sat on the kitchen counter, half full, contents gone cold. The bedroom told the different story. The bed had been stripped to the mattress. The nightstand was askew, knocked approximately 6 inches from its original position based on carpet indentations. Lead forensic investigator Maria Delgado sprayed luminol across the floor. Under UV light, the room transformed. Drag marks glowed spectral blue across the hardwood, leading from the bed toward the door. The pattern had been scrubbed with bleach. The chemical disrupted the blood's oxidation, but couldn't erase it entirely. In the corner, shoved behind a dresser, they found the turquoise gym bag. The shoulder strap was torn completely through. Inside, a water bottle, wireless earbuds, a gym towel, and Maya's wallet containing her driver's license and credit cards. Delgado photographed the bag from multiple angles, then bagged it as evidence. A fingerprint technician lifted a single latent print from the interior side of the apartment's door handle using cyanoacrylate fuming. The print was clear enough for comparison. Run through the APHIS database, it matched Elias Thorne's prints on file from his prior arrest. The violence happened in the one place she believed the lock would protect her, Detective Henderson stated during his testimony. The air inside the apartment had grown stale, sealed in by climate control systems maintaining a temperature that preserved the scene but couldn't preserve the life that had occupied it. Act 3. The Evidence. Elias Thorne was apprehended at 11:35 a.m. on November 19th at a roadside motel 40 miles from the state line. A patrol officer running license plates in the parking lot flagged the Honda Accord. Backup units arrived within 6 minutes. Thorne was taken into custody without resistance. He was transported to Metro City Police Department and placed in Interview Room B at 2:17 p.m. The video recording, played in full during the trial, showed a man who appeared calm. He sat with arms crossed, answered questions in measured tones. Detective Henderson conducted the interview with Detective Angela Reyes as witness. "How do you know Maya Larson?" Henderson asked. Thorne replied, "We were seeing each other. It was casual." Henderson, "Did you go to her apartment?" Thorne, "Never. She wanted to keep things private." Henderson placed a photograph on the metal table. The turquoise gym bag, torn strap visible. Thorne's eyes moved to the image. His posture shifted. He uncrossed his arms, placed his hands on the table, then pulled them back to his lap. A micro-expression of recognition, followed by suppression. "This was found in her apartment," Henderson said, "along with your fingerprint on the inside of her door handle." Thorne was silent for 19 seconds. The video timestamp captured the pause. "I want a lawyer," he finally said. The interview concluded at 2:51 p.m. Henderson noted in his report, "Suspect's phone GPS data places him inside the Vantage complex from 9:03 p.m. to 9:48 p.m. on November 14th. Suspect's claim of never visiting her apartment is demonstrably false." The fluorescent light above the interview table, the scratched surface of the metal table, the hum of the recording equipment. These details became part of the official record. The breakthrough came from Thorne's vehicle. A search warrant executed on November 20th allowed forensic teams to process the Honda Accord. Technicians found soil samples embedded in the tire treads and wheel wells. The soil was red clay, distinct from the gray-brown urban soil common to Metro City. State geologist Dr. Raymond Park analyzed the samples and determined the clay was consistent with deposits found in Whitehaven Nature Reserve, located 23 miles north of the city. The reserve encompassed 400 acres of hiking trails through dense forest. Detectives also discovered trace blood evidence in the vehicle's trunk. DNA analysis confirmed the blood matched Maya Larson's genetic profile. Confronted with this evidence during a second interview on November 21st, Thorne's demeanor changed. The calm evaporated. He requested a pause to consult with his attorney. When the interview resumed at 4:45 p.m., Thorne provided a statement. "It was an accident," he said. "We were arguing. She fell. I panicked." Detective Henderson asked, "Where is she?" Thorne's attorney placed a printed map on the table. Thorne circled a location on the map, a trail access point off Highway 7 leading into Whitehaven Reserve. "How far from the parking area?" Henderson asked. Thorne answered, "Maybe a quarter-mile into the woods. There's a small clearing past the second trail marker." The statement was documented at 5:12 p.m. Henderson immediately contacted the county search and rescue coordinator. "The lie is complex," Henderson reflected during a law enforcement panel discussion in 2026. "The map is simple. Once someone admits to disposing of a body, the cognitive burden of maintaining the fabrication becomes too heavy. They want it to end, even if ending it means prison." On the cold morning of November 21st, search and rescue teams assembled at the Whitehaven Nature Reserve trailhead at 7:30 a.m. The operation included 2 cadaver dogs, a forensic recovery team, and a medical examiner. The temperature was 38 degrees. The wind moved through bare branches, scattering leaves across the trail. Detective Henderson led the team to the location Thorne had marked. The dogs were released at 8:15 a.m. At 10:42 a.m., one of the handlers, Officer Michelle Torres, signaled. The dog had alerted near a shallow depression approximately 300 yards from the trail marker. The depression was covered with leaves and small branches. Forensic technicians carefully removed the organic debris. Maya Larson's body was recovered at 11:18 a.m. The medical examiner, Dr. Paul Hendrickson, confirmed visual identification based on photographs provided by the family. The body was photographed in situ before removal. Dr. Hendrickson supervised the transport to preserve chain of custody. There was no dramatic music, no television-style reveal. Only the crunch of dry leaves underfoot, the smell of damp earth, the yellow police tape fluttering in the wind, and the mechanical sound of the body bag zipper. The autopsy, conducted on November 22nd, determined the cause of death as asphyxiation. Petechial hemorrhaging in the eyes and soft tissue indicated manual strangulation. Defensive wounds on Maya's hands, abrasions and torn fingernails showed she had fought. Tissue samples collected from beneath her fingernails contained DNA consistent with Elias Thorne. The coroner's report estimated time of death as November 14th, approximately 10 p.m. to midnight. Maya had been dead before her mother made the first phone call asking where she was. Act 4. The Resolution. The trial of the State versus Elias Thorne commenced on May 3, 2026, in Metro City Superior Court. The prosecution, led by Assistant District Attorney Nicole Brennan, presented the case as a methodical timeline. She displayed the gym access logs, the Instagram messages, the CCTV footage from the Vantage, the GPS data from Thorne's phone, the soil samples, the blood evidence. Each piece formed a link in an unbreakable chain. The defense attorney, Marcus Holloway, attempted to argue that Thorne's actions were driven by emotional distress, that Maya had invited him to her apartment, that the death occurred during a heated argument, manslaughter, not premeditated murder. The prosecution countered with the maintenance store evidence. The duct tape placed over the latch 2 days before the killing demonstrated planning. The gym membership cancellation at 3:14 a.m. demonstrated awareness of guilt. The lies told during the first interrogation demonstrated consciousness of wrongdoing. The jury heard testimony from Elena Larson, from Sarah Larson, from Detective Henderson, from forensic analysts, from the medical examiner. The turquoise gym bag was entered into evidence as Exhibit 4A. It sat on a table in the center of the courtroom, torn strap visible to everyone. The jury deliberated for 4 hours and 17 minutes. On May 17, 2026, they returned a verdict. Guilty on all counts: stalking, burglary, and first-degree murder. Elias Thorne showed no emotion as the jury foreman read the decision. The sentence, delivered by Judge Maria Castellano on June 2, 2026, was life in prison without the possibility of parole. The courtroom was silent, except for the quiet sobbing of Maya's mother, seated in the second row. The documentary concludes where it began, with surveillance footage. The camera at Ironclad Fitness shows Maya Larson for the last time. She is walking through the turnstile at 6:15 p.m. on November 14, 2024. She carries her turquoise gym bag. Her phone is in her hand, the blue light illuminating her face. She is typing a message. Behind her, 30 seconds later, Elias Thorne swipes his key fob and follows. She does not look back. The footage cuts to the parking garage camera at 7:52 p.m. Maya exits the building, walks toward her white Toyota Camry, glances at the dark blue Honda Accord parked next to her, despite the empty lot. She pauses before getting into her car. The footage shows her sitting in the driver's seat for 34 seconds. Then her brake lights illuminate, and she drives away. The camera holds on the empty parking space. The timestamp continues. 7:53 p.m. 7:54 p.m. 7:55 p.m. Another cut. The Vantage building camera shows Maya entering the lobby at 8:31 p.m. She uses her key fob to access the elevator. The doors close. The elevator indicator light rises. 1, 2, 3, 4. The camera angle shifts to the hallway of the 4th floor. The elevator opens. Maya steps out, gym bag over her shoulder, walking toward Unit 4C. She unlocks her door. She enters. The door closes behind her. The hallway is empty. The timestamp freezes at 8:43 p.m., the exact moment she crossed the threshold of what should have been safety. The screen fades to black. A single line appears. We teach women to watch the shadows, but we rarely teach men not to be the ones hiding in them.